All right, so let's start. Let's start with the. I just want to give a little bit of an overview of how this will work, how I see it. Basically, this is what the LinkedIn platform will allow us to do. They will allow us to have 30,000 connections. Okay. And what happens is every day about 30 to 40 connections are added into this. Okay. So 30 to 40 connections, and it is increasing, but that's what happens, right? And from here, what will happen is there will be two outcomes from these connections. One will be that they are not interested and we will remove them from our pool, so that we can make more room for 30 to 40 more connections every day. Okay, so this will be out, and the other one will be schedule a call either now or later, whenever. Yeah. Okay. Is everybody with me?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in order for us to determine whether they're out or in, we will send them 4 messages. So let's say a brand new contact comes in. Okay, so we will first send them a welcome message or the conversation starter message that you've been sending. Follow up A, follow up B, and follow up C. Yeah. Okay. Are
All
you with
right.
me? Are you with me so far?
Yeah.
So meaning if we send them a welcome message and after a couple of weeks or so they don't respond, we will send them another follow-up message A, and then we will follow up with them again in a few weeks and we will send them a message B. If they don't respond to that, we'll send a last message C, and if they don't respond to that, that means they are out, right? They're not interested at all, or they didn't even respond to us, so we'll take them out. Or if they start to respond to any of these messages, then if I think maybe this will be unssure's decision, like whether it should be immediately moved to level 2, or the level 1 people can initiate a conversation with them. But basically that's the mechanism that will happen, that you will start the conversation, and then as soon as it reaches a point where it needs to pass on to level 2, then it will go to level 2, and from there schedule a call, right?
So Manoj, have you
Right.
decided, are we just going to do 1 week between each one of those processes, or would
I,
you like to do 2 weeks for B,
I'll,
or?
yeah, I'll go over it. So I've made it super easy for everyone. I'll show you. So what I have done is, so obviously we have the welcome message and the conversation starters are here at the bottom. And then I have added follow up A, follow up B, follow up C, and then I have also added these fast actions. So initial contact, follow 1, follow B, C, and dead lead, right? So the mechanism will be very easy, where let's say if this is a person that we have already talked to, okay, so seems like a lot of conversations was happening, so maybe she is interested. That means if somebody is talking to us, there is some interest, so we can maybe touch base with her. So this may be a candidate to go to level 2, right? Because there's a lengthy conversation happening here. So what I will do is I will assign it to closers, reassign, and move on to the next one. Okay, so let's see this one. So once again, she basically said, I'm already there, thanks, but it was a lengthy conversation. We can again assign it to closers and move on. Okay, so he is showing some interest again. I had picked all these, and for some reason the one that I want is not coming up right now. Let me just quickly see. Okay, let me just go to come on. Let's just assume that we contacted her. There was an initial contact made, and then there was no reply from her. And now we want to send a follow-up message, right? So what we'll do is we'll click on follow-up, and follow-up messages are very, very simple. There is no customization needed. The only thing that you need to make sure is the first name has been picked up correctly. So you click on that, right? So this is the follow-up A, and then you will just click on follow-up A link. After that, it will take care of setting up the next follow-up time, which is right now 10 days. Okay, so you don't need to worry
Okay.
about all this. So that way it will be very easy. Click on follow-up, paste it, make sure the name is okay, and then click on the follow-up A link. Now let's say we come here 10 days later, and Jacine is in our queue once again. At that time we will click on follow-up B, paste it here, make sure her name is picked up correctly, and then send the follow-up B message, and then click on follow-up B link, which will again mark it for 14 days, and then you can move on. So is the process clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Clear.
Okay. Now, as I said earlier, one of the things, if you see a longer discussion happening where actually she didn't even, so this is a good example for another case. You have seen, there is a lengthy thread, but there is no response from her. So this is me testing out various messages and spamming people. So if you see there is absolutely no response, even after 6-7 attempts, and then we connected in 2018. So in 2 years, there has been no contact. This is a good candidate for taking out, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so the way that you will do that is by clicking on dead lead.
Okay.
Okay, make sense? Make sense, everyone? Yeah.
Yes.
So now you know how we are filling in the connections. So they will come into the database automatically. And by the way, what I have done is I have imported about 3,000 today. Okay, so we only had 3,000 yesterday. So I went into LinkedIn and got a whole bunch more. So we will have lots of data to work with. So yeah, this is the process to take it out by clicking on the dead lead link. And the other way is to assign it to closers if you think the conversation is moving towards a positive outcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the closers, of course, if they see buying signals, they will similarly assign them to managers for managers to close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So this seems like a dead lead. So what I'm going to do is remove this. Click on dead lead. and it's gone, right? Now I have made a few more updates to the platform. One is that I've added this filter where we can either look at brand new contacts plus the contacts which have already been contacted before, or we can filter it by only uncontacted. So if I click on this, I will only get fresh contacts. But if I click on contacted, I will get the ones that we have already contacted. Okay. But I will recommend that everybody leaves it at all. And the reason is this, because we are getting 30 to 40 connections every day, and the team is just starting to pick up the pace. We were never following up with anybody who was sent the welcome message, because we were always sending welcome message every day, all day. So now with the mix of both new contacts and existing contacts, we can pay attention to both of them. Is it making sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So that's pretty much it. So the sequence of events, as I explained, will be this. And out of that, if the conversation starts, so conversation starts. Now, Anshar, maybe you can step in here, and then eventually you will assign it to closers, and then continue, discussion continue. And if you see a buying signal, assign it to managers, right? So Anshar, can you please jump in and please correct me if I'm right, or if you want to make any modification there.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. And that process, if for some reason you see a super hot lead and they're immediately jumping ahead to the process of wanting to schedule a call, then what you can do is you can call attention to it in the sales team channel, and call it out immediately if there's a red hot lead, something that we need to follow up on immediately. Let's say, the CEO of ExxonMobil, of his own volition, after we make an initial contact, says something like, "Oh, I heard something about you. I actually want to schedule a call with you because I have a problem to discuss." We don't want to put that person through a standard escalation protocol. When you get a red hot lead like that and something grabs on, then immediately directly make contact with someone in level 3 and involve them directly with it. That way, if we happen to get a big fish like that, we have a system in place so that we can make sure that someone puts attention on it right away, because that's not the kind of conversation where we want to leave that guy hanging for 3 days or a week before we get back to him. So that would be the exception to that process. Other than that, that's really the anatomy of how we're contacting. Welcome message plus conversation starter, see if they respond. If they come back up in the follow-up list, then use the follow-up A, follow-up B, and then follow-up C, which is eventually, hey, I can see you're really busy right now. Is there a better time that I can schedule a follow-up? And if they don't answer to that one by the time that it follows up again, then we simply hit the dead lead and remove them. Once we go to the rapport building process, you do have that reference sheet if you are a level 2 or higher closer. My recommendation to you is that if you see a level 1 person who is wanting to train and move up to level 2, and you have a good opportunity to show them, something that's going on with you building rapport, make sure to send them examples. Copy the conversation and send it to them in WhatsApp. Give them some practical examples so that they can see what building rapport looks like in action, and send them the link to the level 2 reference sheet so that they can follow along and see what you did. There are lots of different ways to learn. Some of us are visual, some of us are auditory, but one of the methods of learning that is least used by people is didactic learning, which means that you learn best by assimilating the information and having to teach it to someone else. It's one thing to watch someone fix a bike tire. It's another thing to listen to a person describe the process of fixing a bike tire. But is the highest level of learning is to watch all of that and then think to yourself, how am I going to teach somebody else how to do this? So jump on that opportunity, investing in the level 1 salespeople so that you can start to give them the opportunity to see what good building of rapport looks like, will not only help train that person and let them know that they have a resource in you, and help invest in all of the interns and whatnot that we're going to pick up, but the process of teaching that person will also solidify all of those skills for you. And any questions that that person has to ask that they need you to answer, the process of giving them those answers will also solidify that for you. So make sure that you don't miss out on the opportunity to train, not just to invest in our new people, but also to invest in yourself.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, right, right.
Okay. All right. Any questions?
Not at the moment.
All right. Great. So, I think now you're getting a hang of the conversation starter. So from there, the next part is easy. Follow up with A, B, C, and the next one is conversation starter, so which we talked about yesterday, about recognizing their personality type, matching their style, and then going through that checklist that Anshar has provided, right? And that will come through practice. So once again, let's make sure we practice on each other, and then we dive in and we start talking with real people, because that's the only way we are going to learn. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. And then I will show you, actually I should maybe mention that if you want to practice on real people, just make sure they are not like CEOs of large companies. So there are many uh, contacts that we have, that I have, that oh, come on. So actually, as I was saying, why don't you do one thing? Go to Facebook and then go to yeah, this, not this one, this one, remote. Come on. Okay, so there are how many? There are 64 member requests pending. So first of all, you can approve them, get their email address, and start a conversation with them and understand what kind of personalities they are, and start to try out these techniques that you have learned on them.
sure.
Okay.
Remember, guys, that all growth comes as a result of allowing yourselves to be uncomfortable. If you go into a new country and you don't know the language and you stay indoors all day, you will literally live in a new country and not know the language as long as you're there. But if you have to go out and go to the market and you have to go and interact with people and get taxi cab directions and be able to order food, then you will start to pick up that language because you have put yourself into a challenging position, and you have to increase your skill set in order to be able to thrive. That is how the human brain works. There will always be a fear to put yourself into a situation where you don't know what to do, but it is only by allowing yourself to be in that situation that you are going to give yourselves an opportunity to grow. So when you see that fear, when you say to yourself, I don't know what to do, that means you're headed in the right direction. And that means all you need to do is rely on the support team that you have to try and get some guidance so that you can puzzle through that process. And once you get through that process, remember to pass that information on to someone else who's below you so you can stick that process into your memory.
Understood.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So as we are saying, we have lots and lots of contacts, and those contacts have some sort of a connection with us. So it's a safe place to practice these skills. Practice it among yourself, and then I don't want it to be a long practice session. So within a couple of days, let's start to have real conversations with real people on LinkedIn. But if somebody is new, then just make sure it's not like a CEO of large corporation, so that we don't, take a risk of ruining a connection there. Everything else is, I think it's going to be amazing. I think you're going to like it, and it's just, I think it's going to come together very nicely. It's going to give you a lot of skills, and I think it's going to be good for everyone.
Yeah, just think back to the first time that you drove a car and you had a learner's permit or whatever, and you weren't sure if you were going to have the skills to be able to drive. It was only because you put yourself on that road and actually had to go through the experience of being challenged and feeling uncomfortable that you got yourself to the point that you did feel comfortable. So it's the same process with this.
Yeah.
Right. Any questions?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay. All right.
At the moment.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Now, one thing is, I'll just mention it in the group then. I'll need to log into the machines. Okay. Cool.
And remember, you can reach out to me as a resource, guys, anytime you need me. And if for some reason I'm asleep, I'll get you back when I wake up.
All right.
Thank you.
Sure, and sure.
All
Thanks.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you,
you so
everybody.
much.
Thank you so much.
Have a great one.